Welcome Rovers to the guide that will help you to build Zani into the mighty Achilles himself. If you've looked at Zani's kit information, there are a lot of words that might be confusing, so let's make it simple.
开始今天的工作吧。
Zani has two Forte bars. By default, Zani has her redundant Forte, which has a limit of 100 stacks. And underneath this bar is Zani's Blaze Forte bar, which also has a 100 stack limit, but increases to 150 after casting her Liberation. The main goal when playing Zani is to first use her resonance skill when redundant energy is full, which will apply this symbol to Zani. This means Zani has Sunburst, which amplifies her Spectro Frazzle damage by 20%. When Zani has this symbol, it is the perfect time to cast a Resonance Liberation and enter the Inferno mode. In Inferno mode, Zani's Blaze Forte now replaces her redundant Forte bar, and the max limit is increased from 100 to 150. While in Inferno mode, it is time to start swinging Zani's Greatsword to deal massive amounts of damage. This will consume her Blaze Forte, and once you reach the threshold, or after 8 seconds, you can cast Zani's Last Stand Liberation to end her Inferno state, followed by her outro skill. To build Zani's redundant energy, the best way to do this is by casting Zani's breakthrough attack, which is a timed attack after basic attack 3. There are numerous ways of getting Zani to do basic attack 3, but the fastest way is by casting her resonance skill and immediately doing a basic attack. Once Zani has a seat, you can press the basic attack button to cast breakthrough. If you attack too fast, you will cast basic attack 4 instead of breakthrough. Once Zani has maximum redundant energy, her resonance skill will be replaced with a greatsword block, and this will be used to consume all of her redundant energy and obtain Sunburst, which amplifies her Spectro Frazzle damage. With Sunburst now obtained, the other requirement to fully maximize Zani's on-field time is making sure you have maximum Blaze. Blaze is primarily obtained when Spectro Frazzle stacks from the team are applied and converted to Embers. When Sunburst and Embers are obtained, you can cast Zani's Resonance Liberation to put her in the Inferno state and a new Forte bar. When Zani is in this state, it's time to start swinging that greatsword to deal massive damage and continuously consume Blaze. The more Blaze available, the more attacks you can do. After 8 seconds, or when you reach the threshold shown by the symbol on her Inferno Forte bar, you can now cast Zani's second Resonance Liberation, the Last Stand. After casting Zani's Last Stand, you can now build her redundant energy without consuming it before leaving the field. This way, Zani will be able to obtain Sunburst sooner and allow her to enter Inferno sooner. Alrighty, that covers the overview for Zani's kit. Let's talk about her weapons. Zani's signature weapon is tailor-made for her kit. Its passive can only be utilized by gauntlet characters that deal Spectro Frazzle damage. Damage dealt after casting a Liberation will also ignore a portion of the enemy's defense. The alternative 5-star option is Rachia's Tragic Comedy. However, the crit rate secondary stat of this weapon is not recommended for Zani, as a 5-piece Eternal Radiance set will provide 20% crit rate, and this is in addition to the 13% base crit rate that Zani has. Birdsee's Handle and Abyss Surges are not recommended investments, although they do provide high base attack. Celestial Spiral is the only other 4-star alternative for Zani that covers everything for Zani's weapons. Let's talk about her echoes. 5-piece Eternal Radiance is Zani's only recommended echo set. Zani benefits from Spectro Frazzle and can easily proc the 5-piece bonus. Using any other sets will have significant damage losses. When it comes to your main slot echo, surprisingly, Zani's best echo to equip is Capitanius. This does tie into her background and lore, but more so because the echo provides 12% Spectro damage bonus and 12% heavy attack damage bonus. If you do not have a 3-cast Capitanius, then the alternative is the 4-cast Nightmare Morning Axe. However, this echo will only provide a 12% spectral damage bonus while dealing significantly more damage from the echo skill itself. When it comes to these substats, your forecast echo should always be on crit damage no matter what weapon you are using. The Eternal Radiance set bonus provides 20% crit rate in addition to Zani's 13% base crit rate. The majority of Zani's crit rate needs should come from the echo substats only. Additional sources of crit rate, like Zani's sequences, make running a crit damage forecast echo even better. Alternatively, you can use an attack percent echo if Zani has enough crit rate but does not have a crit damage echo. For your 3 cost echoes, 1 spectral damage bonus and 1 attack percent is the most user friendly for maximizing damage. However, attack percent from team buffs and events begin to have diminishing returns when running the setup, and you already have plenty of attack from echoes substats. With high attack percent rolls from echoes, using a double spectral damage bonus is better and makes flat attack rolls more useful. And both 1 cost echoes should be on attack percent. The priority is to achieve 130% energy regen in total, 40% crit rate from substats only, and then crit damage, attack percent, and finally heavy attack damage bonus. When it comes to Zani's Forte priority, it is rather straightforward. Most of Zani's damage comes from her Forte circuit, and the other majority is from her Resonance Liberation. Prioritizing these two simultaneously is recommended. Zani's Resonance skill can be leveled up, as the attacks that consume redundant energy deal good damage. Zani's basic attack is rarely used in her overall damage output, but can be leveled after her Resonance skill. And lastly is Zani's intro skill. When it comes to Zani's Resonance Chain, it is the part that really turns her into an absolute DPS machine. At S0, Zani is a beast, but with sequences, she turns into an absolute monster. Sequence 1 is a quality of life improvement. After consuming all her redundant energy, Zani will receive a 50% spectral bonus. This means that when you obtain Sunburst, you are also getting a 50% spectral damage bonus, not just the 20% spectral frazzle amplification. And this sequence also makes Zani immune to interruption when casting Nightfall. While this sequence is valuable on its own, I would recommend S2 in addition to this sequence. Zani's S2 is a flat 20% crit rate increase for herself. This again helps Zani to easily reach high crit rates when taking into account all the possible buffs. And with higher crit rates, it means that the buff from S1 is more effective because you will be hitting crits more often. Zani Sequence 3. If you are looking for a long-term investment into Zani, this is a very good stopping point. It does mean that you will need a Spectro Frazzle applier like Phoebe or Shakona in your team to fully max out the buff every rotation. And this is because the damage increase for her liberation is quite significant. Even Jinshi is already nervous thinking about the new capabilities of this attack. Zani's S4 is a team buffer, which we see quite often at S4, just a casual attack increase when Zani casts her intro skill, so nothing game changing there. Sequence 5 is another buff to her Resonance Liberation, but this time to her initial first attack rather than the final attack. This attack does moderate amount of damage, and if you have this sequence, then you will most likely be going for her S6. Zani's Sequence 6 is the sequence to turn her into a lore-accurate Achilles. S6 will increase Zani's damage during Inferno mode, give her a period of invulnerability, so this is useful against Phantom Pain level bosses, and restore even more blaze during the Inferno state, allowing her to perform even more high damage attacks. And lastly, we have Zani's team-ups. As mentioned, Zani's kit relies on teammates that can apply Spectro Frazzle consistently. This is what makes Phoebe the best teammate that Zani can have. Phoebe is especially good when facing solo enemies, since you'll only be able to apply Spectro Frazzle on a single target. Shakona and Spectro Rover are honorable replacements for Phoebe, but do not apply Spectro Frazzle as consistently as Phoebe does. Shorekeeper is the best support option for a Zani team comp because of the crit rate and crit damage increases. Zani does have a high crit investment, so Shorekeeper will provide that extra security for Zani. Honorable replacements would be Verena or Spectre Rover in a more support focused build. Janshin and Baiji are alternative replacements, but not as effective. That is all for the Zani guide. Let me know your thoughts below, and I will see you in the next video.